Hello, Moto Rider world fans, and welcome to Paddock Talk, talking a typical Friday in Assen, basically, with the tricky conditions, with the downpour of rain in the morning. Woke up, sun was kind of shining, looking good, and then 10 minutes later it started raining. Rain throughout the entire morning, a light little drizzle, nothing too serious. It came bucketing down just after FP1 in MotoGP. It came bucketing down for a little bit, and then the clouds kind of started disappearing. The sun started to poke its little face out, and we had a wet FP2 had started off, and then it dried out to beautiful weather for the rest of Friday in Assen. And it looks like, or hopefully, that weather will continue for Saturday and Sunday. Let's hope that we'll get some dry racing. Although a flag-to-flag race on Sunday could make for some entertaining racing, and we could use that a little bit after a little bit of a boring time last time out. Not boring, it's always entertaining, MotoGP, but we need to ruffle the feathers of Fabio. He's getting too comfortable at the front there. So a flag-to-flag race could be entertaining on Sunday, but yeah, we always kind of hope for a dry race. It's always entertaining. Let's not sugarcoat it. But it was a very tricky day, and a typical Assen. My first time experiencing the Cathedral of Speed. I spoke about it last night. There's just so much energy, so much passion, so much history in that track. Every corner that I went and stood on, you reminisce of not only all the things that happened in MotoGP over the years and GP500s, but in World Superbikes, with the likes of Bayliss, Edwards, Fogarty, Russell, Haga, and all those guys, and you could just almost picture it happening. So it really was awesome experiencing the Cathedral of Speed on day one, Friday here in MotoGP, and it was a good Friday. Pecco looks like the man to beat. We've said it time and time again. He's the fastest man in MotoGP. He's just got to put it together, and he did it again today. He's just got to put it together. Hopefully he doesn't have a Nakagami coming through him, and hopefully he doesn't have a hard tire giving up on him on Sunday. If Pecco can put it together, he is the man to beat in this championship. But he's got Fabio Quartararo right on his tail. As I said, it was a tricky FP1 in the wet. I was impressed with a couple of riders in that FP1 in the wet. I think Fabio started off well, didn't really finish well, but seems to be making improvements in wet weather. Darryn Binder had a decent and good FP1 in my books in that wet conditions. Darryn Binder really impressed me in FP1. First time out at Assen on a MotoGP bike in those wet conditions, and was up inside that top 20. So he did really well coming again from Moto3 onto a MotoGP bike for the first time at Assen. And then it's FP2 started off also wet conditions, but it dried out very quickly, even on the side of the track within a couple of minutes. Jacket was off, sunglasses were on. The track really did dry out very, very fast. And you could see the riders switching over to slick tires pretty soon, because they also don't have a lot of wet tires to waste. So a lot of riders I know in Darren's case, was using the same wet tires he used in FP1 for FP2, and he said after 4 or 5 laps, those tires were destroyed because they were overheating, got up to like 200 degrees, that rear tire. And then not knowing what the weather's really going to do on Sunday, they don't want to go throwing new sets of wet tires to try and get into Q2 and potentially wasting wet weather tires, not having enough allocation for Sunday. So kind of played it safe, kept those, waited for the track to dry, but went out on the slicks and also made some improvements. But was Pecco the fastest man? Second was actually Aleix Espargaro, but if you haven't noticed or haven't heard, Aleix has been knocked right back to the back of the grid. Pretty much only took his beginning of FP2 times when it was still wet. The second half they didn't take because of a technical infringement. So what happens in the wet is the MotoGP riders and bikes run that like rear little spoiler at the back that deflects water off the rear tire. Kind of a safety thing in the wet, but you're not allowed running it in the dry, and Aleix was caught going out with that rear deflector spoiler, whatever you want to call it, at the bottom of the bike in the dry conditions. So none of his dry lap times in FP2 counted, so he technically was last. His lap time was a 1:41, which wasn't fast enough to even qualify him within that 110% rule. So yeah, Aleix Espargaro, second in the World Championship, second fastest in the session, was caught with a technical infringement, and as it stands now, he's at the back of the grid. So not into Q2. He's still got FP3, and with the weather looking like it's going to be okay for FP3, I think we will see the lap times tumble, and I'm pretty sure he will get himself into potentially Q1, hopefully. Just behind him, Alex Rins did a great job. Fabio Quartararo did a great job when the track dried out. He sits second overall now with the demise of Aleix with that technical infringement. Alex Rins, good bounce back, and this is why he didn't race at Sachsenring, because he's got a real good shot at Assen, loves the track. The Suzuki works well there, so saved his energy. The wrist, I know he said it is still sore in that, but a lot more manageable, especially with the rain in FP1. Didn't have to push as hard, so not as much pressure. That is going to get worse as the weekend goes on, a lot more pressure on that wrist, but he was right up there in the mix, and as was Jean Mir. So the Suzuki is a good Friday for them. Let's hope that they can keep that momentum going. They need something. Since the announcement has happened, they've had just terrible results. I think they've only had 1 or 2 finishes since that announcement was made that they were leaving the paddock. So let's hope. Let's fingers crossed that Suzuki can be in the mix. The more manufacturers, the more riders in the mix, the better MotoGP is. So let's hope. Let's hope that they can carry that momentum up. Then Maverick Vinales loves Assen. He was right up there on the Aprilia, looked good from the side of the track as well. Really did look good. Pecco looked stupid fast. I mean, he was the fastest rider of the day, but he just looked so fast from the side of the track. Fabio Quartararo in some sectors also. Sector 1 looked really good in that tight left-hander onto the back straight. Really did look good there. And then just beyond Maverick Vinales in 6 is Darryn Binder, promoted from 8th to 7th with Aleix Espargaro's technical infringement. So it sees him in Q1 at the moment, which would be a good thing for Brad and KTM to hopefully get a higher starting position in qualifying. That's all that's missing now. We know what he can do on Sunday, what him and KTM can pull out the bag. He just needs a good starting point, a better starting point from Saturday qualifying. So let's hope that he can carry that momentum again into FP3 tomorrow, and then just build on that from FP4 and in qualifying, and just potentially top 12, top 10, fingers crossed if he can get himself in there. Said he had a good day. They've got a lot of new technical updates and aero packages and this and that, and look, it wasn't really enough track time to really put it to the test, but for Brad to make the improvements that he did, I think it was a good day for Darryn Binder there. And then there's Zarco just behind him, steady as you go again, another top 10 ride from Ducati's top contender in the World Championship. It's crazy to think that Zarco is, but he's right there. Marco Bezzecchi, top of the rookies, in 9th. And Anea Bastianini kind of trying to recover some form over the last couple of races that haven't been that kind to him. He was up inside that top 10. So those are the riders in Q1, potentially, or Q2, I should say. Or is it Q1? No, it's Q1. Sorry, it's Q1. Potentially at the moment, Q1 or Q2. I can never get that right. Anyway, you know what I mean. Taka Nakagami just outside that top 10. Luca Marini in 12th. Alex Marquez, big talk again, and Ducati. Paolo Gibatti came out and confirmed today Ducati are in talks with Alex Marquez to go into the Cressini team. Now, I think this is very clever. I spoke about it in Scoop or Poop episode. Check it out on our YouTube channel as well. But I think this is a very clever move from Ducati, because if they can entice Alex Marquez there, make him feel happy, he goes fast, he starts performing more consistently, could they potentially, if Marc Marquez does come back fit and fast and healthy, could they potentially use Alex, his brother, as a bit of bait to get Marc Marquez over to Ducati? So I know how Ducati work. There's always a bigger picture. And, Alex Marquez's results certainly haven't sold him into a potential factory Ducati ride with a Cressini. Obviously, with Oliveira going to RNF, that's opened the door for Alex Marquez. But I think there's more of a thinking behind all of that from Ducati's side. So let's see how that plays out. Then Dovi was in 14th, Miguel Oliveira in 15th, Martin, Morbidelli, Espargaro, DJ Antonio, Savadori, Binder, Bradl, and Ralph Fernandez with Aleix right at the back. So very entertaining, soaking wet. Got wet throughout the entire day here in Assen, but like I said, thankfully dried out throughout the rest of the day. But it's all to play for going into Saturday. Into that FP3, I think it's going to be very entertaining. The weather seems to be changing minute by minute at the moment. It looks like we're going to have a dry rest of the weekend. Let's wait and see. But it's all to play for in FP3. I think the riders are going to go for it. They've got their soft tyres that they didn't use in FP1, so a little bit more of an allocation there. And I think we're going to see the lap times tumble if it's a dry track, and a lot of riders pushing to the limit at the cathedral of speed that is at Assen. So that is the Friday Roundup. Stay tuned to the Motor Rider World Facebook page and YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed for the Saturday Roundup, Sunday Roundup, and then, of course, Talking MotoGP from Assen live on our Facebook page from 8 p.m. On Monday night.